it's your girl Kiki, and welcome to Where is the Manual? My parenting podcast for anybody who's ever looked at their situation and thought, where is the damn manual? This show is for all the moms, dads, caregivers, whoever is just figuring it out as they go. I'll be sharing my real life stories, the good, the messy, and the surprising, with a little laughter, some healing, and a whole lot of side eye, because parenting can be very ghetto. Each episode will start with a quote to guide us through my story and, of course, ends with a lesson I'm learning because, let's be honest, the parenting manual, we're writing it as we live it. So let's get into it. Sometimes the best things in life are unplanned. Hey y'all, it's your girl Kiki. Welcome back to Where's the Manual? So today on this first episode, I'm talking about what happens when life does not go according to plan. Specifically, how I went from living my best life, living my best single life, to surprise motherhood. Okay, so I had solo life on lock. Career booming, passport stamped, bank account set, and not a diaper in sight. But then life said, plot twist. But you know what? Let me rewind a bit. So a couple years prior, I went to the doctor to check my egg count. I was told I had low egg count for my age and would most likely not conceive naturally. I was told I had options, right? So I can either freeze my eggs because I would definitely need IVF. We talked a little bit more about the cost and in New York, it was a hefty price. And I was like, not doing it, not spending money for not having a guarantee of anything. And just like that option I wasn't sure I wanted was taken off the table. After that doctor's appointment, I felt like I was grieving. I felt like there was a loss of having an option. I definitely became sad at the thought that I was living this fabulous life, but I may not ever have kids to share that with. But again, I was living a fabulous life, so I got over it quickly. So let's get back to the plot twist. I was dating someone casually, enjoying our time together. We talked about marriage, kids, finances. He definitely wanted 3 kids to be exact. I made it clear that, I might not be able to have kids naturally. And we talked about what would that look like, et cetera, et cetera. Fast forward past that, we kind of ended things eventually, which is a whole other story, not for this episode, but basically we ended things and it was cool. Long story short, I threw a barbecue in the summer at my home. It was one fun night, too many drinks, good food, good music, and a few weeks later, boom, pregnant because the guy that I wasn't dating anymore and I made a baby. So the surprise aftermath of it all. I went on a trip. I was going on a trip probably a month later with my sister. I was moving, shaking, a whole lot of climbing with a lot of drinks. During that time, I felt like I was gaining weight. I literally had put on pants and it popped. My sister felt that I was moody and bitchy. I just thought I was hungry. And because she likes to move slow and I'm usually on like itinerary, let's go, let's go, let's go. So I didn't think anything of it, honestly. But then my last day of that 2-week trip, I felt off and exhausted. But again, I just thought it was all of the moving around the island hopping, climbing volcanoes, et cetera, climbing a whole bunch of things. If you've been to Greece, you know everything's a climb. So I just really thought that, I was tired. But then I took a shower, then my nipples were starting to hurt, and it was definitely not in the way when you have your menstruation. It was definitely a little bit different. And I was like, okay, this cannot be happening. So I kind of pushed it out of my head because I was really in denial at that moment. But once I returned home, I got a pregnancy test and whew, the shock. I felt like a teenager, confused, scared, overwhelmed. This was not supposed to happen this way. I wondered what it meant. What was I supposed to do? Basically, I ended up just praying. I cried. I wrestled. And at that moment, I kind of realized this might just be part of a bigger plan. So I started to figure out what that was going to look like. And eventually, I found peace in that idea. So now I have to notify the dad. So I talked through the scenarios of what would it do if he blah, 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 right? So it was a lot of going through what the scenarios would look like. And so eventually it was like, okay, screw it. I have to tell him it is what it is. We weren't really speaking. We weren't together, obviously. I could not call him. Like, I just could not get up the nerve to call. So I had a friend who also knows him call him and told him to give me a call. So once he did, we spoke and I nervously told him the news. And on that call, he paused and I was shaking, trembling. But he surprised me. There was no denial. There was no drama. He was just like, I want my baby. We talked about that and what that meant. And at that moment, we made a decision to co-parent with intention, right? We both agreed we wanted our child to have a functional, loving family dynamic. And so we proceeded on, with the idea of co-parenting and having our child. So that was a beautiful moment. So what's the lesson here, right? This pregnancy wasn't planned. It wasn't ideal, but it was mine. And it reminded me that you can prepare your life all you want, but sometimes God's plan has the final say. The blessing I didn't see coming was the exact thing I needed. So the lesson I'm learning is sometimes the best things happen when you release control, and everybody that knows me knows I am super controlling. And just say yes, even when it's scary. So I ask you all, what part of your life didn't go as planned, but turned out better than you expected? Think about that. Thanks for listening. Where's the manual? If this episode touched you, share it with your mama, your auntie, your friend, your cousin, whoever needs to know that they are not alone. Subscribe, leave a review, come back next week for more stories, quotes, and lessons from the trenches of parenthood. Thank you.